What's good, everyone? Brand new video. This time I'll be talking about the two champs that we're having this weekend. Well, the two banners, Nissa and, well, however you call it. There we go, Nissa and Erlang Shen. Okay, so to begin with, I see a lot of people saying that they are not good enough, that they won't be meta, that whatever people are talking about. But you guys have to keep something in mind with this game. The way Moonton does every single champion release and every content release in general is they first give us some champs that seem totally useless, or not totally useless, but you won't really use, and then a few months later, or even a few weeks, we get the content for them. I know you could argue that you could say this about every champ, but why do I think you should really pull for both of these champs? Well, to begin with, this banner is pretty nice because we have Nastia. Nastia is the key element for the 60k abyss team using poison teams, which also comes with Numera on the other banner, but Nastia is a pretty solid lore. Of course, if you're free to play and you don't really want to burn your ancient PT on Nastia and you want to save up for Ingrid, Balderon, Praetus, or some champs like that, that's another story. But I think she's really solid. But we're not talking about her, we are talking about Erlang Shen. Now, I've seen people say that Erlang Shen will be meta in Arena. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't have the server, I couldn't test it, but I highly doubt it, okay? I think he will be a nice pick, but I think at the top, using the meta teams, he won't be better than the current Balara teams that we have with Balara, Ingrid, Lady Alex, and the problem with his range is you cannot use him with Balara because they would have the same range, so they would kind of overlap and one would lose a lot of damage. That's my opinion. Now, I can be wrong, however, I still think he's pretty much a must-have, and it's not because he will be OP or he will be game-breaking, it's because he's the first defender that can actually do damage, and it's the first arbiter defender. Now, why am I saying this? Well, we have in the game news, I don't know if the game news or the dev Q&A that was uploaded by Destin a few days ago, but we will be getting arbiters faction trial. Now, currently, if we go into the faction trial, into the gallery, and we check the champs that we have, we can check that the only tank we have from this faction is Constance. So I would assume that we will need some tanks for faction trials. That's the first thing. Now, the second, he has some debuffs. He applies vulnerability with the passive. He has like a pretty unique team, also helping with radiant erosion and being piercer, which allows him to have like a huge range, pretty much immediate range. So I don't know, I feel like he will be, I don't know if meta, but 100% used somewhere in the future. And if you don't have Balara, you will also be using him in anti-air arena. Now, as I've said before, do I think he will be the new meta for anti-air arena? I personally don't think he will, but if you don't have Balara, he will 100% replace Balara and he will be the second best choice on her spot. But now, let's talk about Nissa. Why am I pulling for Nissa? Well, one thing before is, if you're pulling for one of the champs, you should always pull for the other, because they have a bomb skill, nothing else. And the bomb skill from Erlang Shen is actually super good. It gives two more enemies for the passive, which gives the vulnerability, so it goes from 3 to 5, so that's pretty good. And then we have on Nissa the immune to all debuffs and basic attack restore HP. Nothing too crazy, but it's always nice to have. But the thing and the reason why I'm pulling for this banner first is I don't have Numera. Numera is the only champ I'm missing on my account. It's kind of a joke, but yeah, I'm missing Numera. But even if I had Numera, I would pull for this banner. And the reason is Nissa is right now the only champ that has this kind of range that can hit on both sides of her baseline base attack, so she can hit left and right. And also, she has a pretty unique thing, and as I've said before, I'm all into unique kits. I think they are the safest thing to pull because you never know, they will always be useful, and even though her base stats are pretty low, they are nothing crazy because you compare with other fighters that are above 6,000 attack. She's nothing crazy, but this AoE with the weapon like the spear, the universe rings, and the Yin Yang blade, it gives her such a different way of playing. Like, she allows you to have so many playstyles with her that I pretty much think for progression she will be amazing, because you can just use her in G-Raid 1, you can even use her in G-Raid 2. That's the first thing. And now, if you need a champ that works in campaign, that works in general content, artifact material raids, gear dungeon, she will be amazing. As I've said before, we don't know the content that it will come, so she's always a nice pick and a safe option. Am I saying she will be meta? Once again, no. Nobody really knows until we get to test them on live server, because in the end, test server is not the same. There are not as many people testing things, not as many theory crafters, so it's pretty hard. But the other champ that I'm really interested in is Numera. Now, Numera is pretty much the best DPS in the Poison team comp. So, if you are trying to push Abyss, you really need her. Now, if you have her A0, you want her A3. Her A3 is just a nonsense. It's so broken. Now, A1 is pretty nice. It's 25% on the ultimate, but A3 is 20% magic rest ignore. This is, you guys can't imagine how crazy that is. And it's pretty easy to show you guys. Now, if we go into Abyss leaderboard, let me show you the difference between someone using A5 Numera at 144 damage and A0 Numera 110. That's 30 million. It's almost a 30% increase in damage only with one awakening. Of course, gear will be different, but not only this, guys, we can check others, like let's say this Numera 134, and now let's check another A0 Numera, for example this one 100. So as you guys can see, it's almost 30% increase in damage. It's just insane. And for everybody that wants to push Abyss, these banners, both of them, both the Ancient and the Blue Summons ones and Divines, are pretty much a must pull. You should 100% pull on both of these banners. Now, the only exception for me, for people that shouldn't pull, is, well, not shouldn't, if you want to save up, because everybody can do what they want, but I would only save if you don't really care about the new champs, okay? Because, I don't know, you don't like collecting and you don't think they are cool enough, or you don't think they will be useful, that's fine, personal opinions. But if you do 60k Abyss and you don't like them, is the only reason I could think of that it would lead you to not pull on this banner. Because if you're not hitting 60k, this is your chance to get the team that you need for Abyss. And in Abyss, you don't really need A3 Numera or even Awakenings on Nastia. They work at A0. Of course, you will need a strong Vulcan, a strong Kigiri, but they work. They are pretty much the key to getting 60k. So yesterday I was doing a takeover and I managed to get one guy to 60k. He wasn't even level 100, he was level 94. So yeah, guys, I think this banner is pretty much one of the best we've had for progression. Of course, for endgame perspective, it's different because we will have to test things out. but for progression they will be amazing. So I don't know, I think everybody should really pull for them. It's a really nice banner. I will pull, hopefully I get Erlang Shen before I reach PT, because I already have Nastia, so I would like to save up my PT, but if not, I will keep pulling. So yeah, this is it guys. Any question, anything you want to talk about, let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading all of you guys as always and answering all your questions, and I'll see you in another one. Bye.